What's up, RotoBallers? My name is Jorden Hill, and I'm here once again filling in for Matt to talk about fantasy football DSTs. Week 14 was a wild one with many surprises, and a lot of defenses that seemed pretty much guaranteed to perform simply did not show up. But we're moving on to week 15, and we're going to give you 5 defenses that fantasy managers should have full confidence deploying in what for many of you will be the first round of the fantasy playoffs. Let's dive right in, starting with the Philadelphia Eagles, who have been a much better defensive unit in real life than for fantasy purposes. Still, Philly ranks as a top 12 DST and takes on the Las Vegas Raiders in week 15. You know the story with the Raiders. Geno Smith leads the league in interceptions thrown, and the team is scoring the second fewest points per game. To make matters worse, they're giving up the second most sacks. Philly's sack and takeaway numbers are down this season, but I just don't think it gets much safer than this matchup at home, no matter if it's Smith or Kenny Pickett starting at QB. Next, how about we head down to Jacksonville and give some love to this Jaguars defense, which will host the New York Jets. The Jags are averaging the 3rd most takeaways per contest, and the Jets are giving up the 5th most sacks. We currently have no idea who will be the starting QB for New York next week, as Tyrod Taylor suffered a groin injury in week 14, and Justin Fields is nursing a knee injury. The Jags are an even better play if we get undrafted rookie Brady Cook under center for the Jets. Cook threw 2 picks and took 6 sacks in week 14, but even if it's Taylor or Fields, Jacksonville is firmly in play. Let's stay in the AFC South and give a shout out to the Houston Texans, who rank 2nd amongst all DSTs in fantasy points scored. They are also home favorites against the Arizona Cardinals, an offense that has been much better with its backup QB. Jacoby Brissett's passing stats are impressive, but he's still just 1-7 with 5 interceptions in his 8 starts with the Cardinals, averaging around 22 points per game. Honestly, it just doesn't matter who the opponent is. The Texans are dominating everyone. They've shut down the Bills and the Colts and are surrendering the fewest points and the fewest yards of offense. They're also top 10 in both sacks and takeaways. So yeah, if you have Houston on your roster, there's just no reason to go away from them in this spot. A quick shout out to the Seattle Seahawks. Of course, you're starting them against the Colts without Daniel Jones, but let's move on to a couple potential streaming options, starting with the San Francisco 49ers, who are coming off of their week 14 bye and are likely available in many leagues. The 49ers pass rush hasn't been the same without Nick Bosa, but they're quietly holding opponents to the 8th fewest points per game and have the privilege of facing the Tennessee Titans at home this week. I said last week that starting DSTs against the Titans has been a cheat code in fantasy football, and shockingly, the Titans went into Cleveland and dropped 31 points on the Browns. But I still think you could do worse than the Niners this week. Prior to week 14, Cam Ward and the Titans were putting up the fewest points while surrendering the most sacks and were turning the ball over nearly twice per game on the road. And it's not like Ward diced up the Browns, he finished with fewer passing yards than Tony Pollard had rushing yards. I just don't think we should expect this kind of efficient rushing attack from Tennessee moving forward, given how bad they've been on the ground all year. I also think you could take a look at the Cowboys versus the Vikings, or the Dolphins taking on the Steelers, but give me the Carolina Panthers going up against the division rival New Orleans Saints. Carolina's defense has been up and down this season, but like the Niners, they are fresh off a bye and available in the vast majority of leagues. Back in week 13, the Panthers surprisingly took down the Rams, largely because of the defense making big plays. They forced 3 turnovers, including 2 interceptions off MVP candidate Matt Stafford, one of which was taken all the way home for a pick 6. Carolina doesn't have a lot of sacks, but it's top 10 in takeaways and top half in points allowed, and this Saints offense just doesn't pose much of a threat. Rookie QB Tyler Shough has 5 starts under his belt, and he's led the Saints to more than 20 points just once. He's also thrown a pick in 4 of his 5 starts and has been sacked 15 times. With the NFC South division title on the line, I think fantasy managers can trust the Panthers as a pick up and play option on Sunday afternoon. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and head over to RotoBaller.com for all of the latest and greatest fantasy news and analysis. As always, thanks so much for tuning in, and best of luck in the fantasy playoffs.